All right, everyone. Well, hey, our next Pecha Pod Pitch podcaster out there, say that 4 times fast, is a lifestyle entrepreneur, international speaker, high performance coach, and founder of the Business Method and Get Shit Done Live. The Business Method and the Business Method and Get Shit Done Live both help entrepreneurs grow their business rapidly using high performance productivity techniques. Chris has been a location independent entrepreneur almost 9 years and traveling the world consistently during that time. Over the years, he's spoken in different 5 countries, created business accelerators in Spain, Brazil, and Thailand while interviewing more than 300 successful entrepreneurs on his podcast, including people like Laird Hamilton, who's the world's top big wave surfer, Stephen Kotler, New York Times Best-Selling author and peak performance expert, Jim Rogers, world's top investors and former partner George Soros, Lee Dumas from our business podcaster, Casey Fenton. Just the list goes on and on. He's an official juror of the Global Startup Awards, and through coaching courses and his live events, Chris focuses on helping entrepreneurs scale their businesses and life using research-driven, high-performance techniques. Man, what a mouthful, but all awesome out there. So we're glad to have Chris Reynolds here today. What's going on, man?
Scott, I'm glad to be here. I'm really glad to be here. And I realized I should have given you an easier bio.
That's okay.
Simplified it.
Oh, we got trust me, that's easier than some people's. It's a great bio. Good stuff there.
Fair.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about your podcast, man. What made you kind of dive into it and start one?
Yeah, so I was doing these business accelerators around the world, and we were getting so many great results from the business accelerators that I wanted to create a place to give good testimonials. So I was like, let's just do a podcast, interview the people that have come to the business accelerators, and we'll have a great platform to share testimonials. Well, after like 30 or so, I started to realize the potential of podcasting and how valuable the conversations that we were having were for other people. And also, just sitting down to dinner with other entrepreneurs and lunch with other entrepreneurs, I thought to myself, like, we need more of this into the world. So this is back in 2015, and I thought we need more. We need to share this more with the world. And so then I decided, like, hey, let's take this seriously. And I decided to interview 100 podcasts, 100 people in 100 days that had built $100,000 businesses and bigger. And wow. I did that, and I thought to myself, I was like, after 30 people, I'm going to start to have to work really hard because I'm not going to have anybody else to talk to, and I'd have to hunt really hard. But what I realized is that people just started to come. Everybody that was on the show knew somebody that could fit the parameters to come on the show again. And so I continued to do it. I did those 100 shows in 100 days, and I decided, like, how can I take it to the next level? And so I decided to do 100 episodes with 7-figure remote entrepreneurs, and so that was fun. That was a bit more work than the first series. And now we're doing 100 episodes with major influencers, so people with actually some of the people that you suggested in a bio come from that series as well.
That's awesome, man. 100 episodes in 100 days. That's definitely will keep you busy. Does that bulk recording? Did you do it one a day, or how did that kind of work out?
It was a sloppy mess, man, because I was like, let's just do it. I was pretty naive, and I just, overconfident, and it all worked out. But sometimes, like, I would get a string of 10 in a week, and that would help a lot. And then sometimes I would have less, and then I got backlogged a bunch, like 20 episodes, and then I took a little bit of time off, and then I realized that, I'm behind because I took a bit too much time off. And so then I had to hustle, grind. And I ended up getting 101 episodes in 106 days. That was the final result. So, but it was still pretty amazing and a great experience too.
Well, but that's the thing. I think it's so many people, you hit that number. I think is if you hit 100 episodes, I think you're in the 1/10 of 1% of podcasters out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you set a goal for yourself to what you wanted to go, and you push towards it to the end. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I've had a hard time getting 10 episodes done in 100 days. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And that's the thing. I mean, that's kind of great. Like there's the 20 to 30 mark for a lot of podcasters out there. You know, they hit 20 or 30 episodes and they realize, I think there's some statistic that it's like there's 800,000 podcasts that are out there and only 250,000 or so are live or continually like are current because so many people just drop out. And fair enough, it's a lot of work. I realize that even after I did those 100 days, and then I dropped down to 3 a week. I realized, like, you know, I thought I had so much time on my hands because I was working so hard doing those episodes. But yeah, man, it's a fun business.
Yeah. Now, the question I like to ask here with you is: so how is the podcast helping you monetize your live events, or vice versa, a little bit more so?
So at first it was just a fun platform. You know, I wanted to get my voice out there, get my brand out there, and then I realized it started filling up the funnel over times. Like even just the list of people that have been on the show have become either customers or clients to some of our events or our services or products, and so it starts to fill up the funnel more and more and more and more, and that's good because now the system becomes a bit more automated. And at first, you know, when we were doing our live event, Get Shit Done Live, I was just hustling and hustling for the marketing and doing so much work. We've done it for 5 years in Thailand, and nowadays it's great because it just starts, you know, filling up in January, February. People start buying tickets, and that's really exciting to see because it becomes actually an automated, you know, an automated live event, which is really nice. The marketing side of it does. And then also we have courses now that we do, and then I do one-on-one high performance coaching. Also the 100 podcasts in 100 days, and I didn't know this at the time, but it really served as a great testimonial to the high performance coaching that I do now. Because if you can publish, you know, 100 1 hour episodes in 100 days, that's a hustle. It was a hustle. And I was doing it from Brazil where the Wi-Fi was horrible too. So sometimes literally like I had to upload for, it would take 4 hours to upload. So I would, you know, start uploading it and then go out to dinner, and I would just play like Joe Rogan's podcast on the computer so nobody like touched it when we were gone. And I come back and it's finally uploaded, and so I can finish it off.
So, when you're in Brazil, there, are you recording over? Was the internet good to record with people remotely, or you did a lot of it in person, or what was the best way to help you overcome the Wi-Fi issue?
It was pretty much all the internet, and so it was a challenge at first, you know. And so I had to do a lot of because I was editing it first as well, and so I had to do a lot of like pitch and repair, and like you know the audio would cut out, and I'm like, oh, that's a good part, but I would have to like match it up somehow, you know, if it cut out for a few seconds. But I have a funny story. I was interviewing the founder of Squatty Potty. His name's Bobby Edwards,
Yep.
and literally I was working at this co-working space, and my scheduled time there, a bunch of people showed up and it got really loud, so I couldn't do the interview. And I was like, I was stressing out, and I was like, where am I going to do this? There was an alley next to the co-working space, and I'm like, I'm just going to do it. This is Bobby Edwards. I can't cancel it. You know, at the time it was the biggest guy I had ever gotten on the show. So Bobby literally left the View, you know, the talk show, daytime talk show, The View, left The View, and then finished up there, and then went back to his hotel room and got on the interview for our podcast. And I thought to myself, you know, if he left The View, if he knew I was like recording this in an alley in Brazil, I wonder what he would think. But the podcast was amazing. Like, he's such a good sport, and we had a great conversation. He even started singing on the podcast, and and so, but it was, you know, I was just going to make it happen one way or the other, and I did.
I think we need to start a trend, a new hashtag, interesting podcasting studios, and where we take them in alleyways, in closets, in the
That's it.
bathroom stalls. And
That could be an Instagram channel, like a new Instagram profile.
but that's an important message. You didn't take no for an answer on what was going on. You found a way, and I think so many people are, oh, well, I can't do it. It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it. And I think after you've done enough, you're like, hey, listen, there's a lot of things we can fix in editing. It's more important, as one of our previous guys said, hit the record button and get it done, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that's how it happens. You know, you and I have had a conversation before, and even our conversation getting to know each other, I think, was podcast worthy because it gives value to some entrepreneurs out there, some people that are wanting to start a business. And you know, just that's the thing. Like, you can't be too much of an over perfectionist, or you'll never get any content out there at all.
Yeah, delivered it will beat perfection every time. If I had somebody else tell me perfection equals poor.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
So what advice for those that are doing events or they're doing trainings? I guarantee I know the answer, but I want to hear it from your lips. The importance of leveraging that and starting a podcast to go along with it. The two work really hand in hand and help get it out. A whole different level of marketing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, like you do the same thing. And when you talk to people at live events, it's so easy to say, like, podcasts are kind of a new business card, right? Just check out the podcast. And then especially if they're subscribing and giving reviews, that download is going to go and hit their feed consistently. I was at a meditation retreat in the north of Thailand. Some guy had flown in from Toronto for this meditation retreat, and we'd never met before. We had no mutual friends or anything. And he's like, I think I've heard of your podcast. And he scrolled through his feed, and somebody had recommended him an episode a year and a half prior. And so that's where it becomes really cool. But you're at live events, and you can say, also, like if you have a good podcast talking about different subjects like marketing or building funnels or notes or whatever it may be, say, like, check out this episode with so-and-so. Like, this is a really good one. If somebody asks you questions, like Chris or Scott, like, what's a good podcast on podcasting? And I said, oh, check out the episode we did with Lee Dumas. Like, he talks about every single step that you need to go through, right? And it becomes, you become like the educational platform. But then also, when you're interviewing your guests and you're talking to people about your podcast, you also can tell them, hey, we actually do a live event every year. A bunch of us entrepreneurs go to Thailand. We work and we focus for 10 days to get a lot of shit done in a little amount of time. And we have an amazing time doing that. And that works really well. And so literally, like, people I've interviewed on the show, they say, wow, your event sounds really cool. I think I might join you. And they'll end up like coming all the way to Thailand to join us. So that's fun to see.
It's always nice when people fly across the world to be on a podcast, right?
Yeah. The responsibility kind of goes up a little bit when you're like, this person literally flew from, New York to Thailand just because of my event. And you think to yourself, man, I've got to perform. I've got to show up. I've got to make sure everything works really well.
And that's the thing too. I think any event, I feel that way, whether it's an online or in person event, you always want to show up. You want to make sure things go well.
Yeah.
And kick butt and take names with it. But it's showing up is half it, and then letting stuff flow. I mean, you're going to have little errors that happen. Just don't worry about them. Don't let it throw off track. Just keep rocking and rolling, whether it's a noisy workspace or bad internet, right?
Absolutely. 1,000%, man.
Awesome. So, what's the best way for people to connect with you, listen to the podcast? What's the best way, Chris?
Yeah, actually, go to thebusinessmethod.com, you guys. That's the most simple way. If you want to subscribe and give a review, that's huge for us, especially the reviews. All the podcasters out there, happy to give you guys a review. Love for you guys to give me a review as well. That helps us all. And if anybody's interested in any of our stuff, let me know. Reach out to us. I'm happy to give a 15% discount for anybody that was on the show.
Awesome, man. Is that the same thing for the Thailand thing?
Yeah, we have an early bird discount going on now. So yeah.
When is the next one of that?
We do those every October.
So you heard it here first. You guys got plenty of time to book that event over half a year out. Why not? Imagine where you'd be in October, right?
Exactly.
Good stuff there. Well, hey, Chris, thanks so much for being on here. Thanks for sharing your show. Such great nuggets. And look forward to having a beer with you when you get here to Austin, all right?
I'm excited, Scott. See you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.